So now we start the podcast.
Literally full with laughter and everything. Oh my gosh, so much. In case anybody doesn't know, we're bridging the generational gap. It's very punny here in Baltimore. Bridging.
Just
Yikes.
Don't cancel us, please.
I feel like Christian was so on, and then I started the podcast, and he was like,
What do you mean?
don't look at me. Nobody look at me.
You just have to...
Oh my goodness.
You have to go with the flow around here, all right?
Okay, so here's a thought. When selling a property, buying or selling, right? And you're working with a different generation, there are different generational gaps, right? There's different generational perspective, thought process, consideration, things that are important to them. We did the whole blog. It's all right here in the blog. Actually, we don't need to talk. We'll talk to you guys later. No, I'm kidding. But it talks a little bit about like the difference between selling a home to a Gen X or a millennial versus selling a home to a baby boomer, or Gen X, Gen Z, or millennial. Damn, I messed it up already.
Is Gen X a thing?
Yes.
Yex.
Yes.
Nice.
I think that I'm a Gen X.
No, you're a millennial. My dad.
I'm a millennial.
We're millennials,
Who
right?
are the Gen Ys? Is that the millennial?
Gen Z?
Yeah.
What?
Millennials, Gen Y.
How?
Well, that doesn't. Oh, I guess that does make sense. X, Y, Z.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do you go after that?
Alpha.
They're
Kids now are Gen Alpha.
They're Gen Alpha. And for those people that are like super Courtney, they're like double alpha. Because in theory, there was an alpha before them.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. How did we get to that? Like, how did we get to the generation of baby boomers? That's the first generation I ever knew, right? Was there a Generation S?
Yeah, I don't know.
Generation Sam?
I don't know. Maybe we have a blog post about it.
Maybe. Anyway, so talking a little bit about how to sell to different people, it was actually kind of interesting to think about this because...
What do you mean sell to different people? Like, how do you help someone sell their home, or how do you help someone buy their home in these different generations? Because when you say help sell them, let's make sure our I's are crossed, okay?
What I believe is that we don't sell real estate. We sell ourselves to people.
No, yeah.
Very
yeah.
prostitution right here. This is happening. It's
It's
the legal
legal.
way. It's legal way. But when you're working with a millennial or a Gen Z, it's going to be different than working with a baby boomer. When you're working with a single mom, it's going to be different than working with a widow. When you're working with a young family that's new to the community, new to the culture, new to the area, it's going to be different than working with somebody that grew up here, that knows the area.
Something like...
Identifying the culture characteristics are important. Continue.
Well, no, I agree. One thing that I thought this blog was actually about was just like the amount of equity that some of these boomers are sitting on.
Good point.
Like, it's insane.
I have people that I sold houses to that are sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity. It's insane. Like, I've only been in the business for for 10 years. And 6 years ago, I sold a house to one particular person who I know that's sitting on like $300,000 worth of equity just because they bought in the right house at the right time. They haven't done anything to their home.
Yeah. I mean, specifically going to like the boomers, the older folks out there, shout out.
When I was your age, Sonny,
Like,
I bought my first house for $60,000.
well, some of them might. Like, I know some people in Calvert County that bought their home between 2 and 3, and now it's worth 6, 7, 8, 9 million.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. And so these boomers are sitting on basically like their lifetime, like, fucking accomplishment.
It's the biggest investment that most people make in their life.
Oh, 100%.
So you've got
having
people that are they've lived a life, they've taken care of their family, they put their kids through college, hopefully they've taken care of their family in that way. And now they have all this equity and they don't know what to do with it.
I had a conversation with my dad, and he didn't really give me like a real answer, but I was like, "Did you ever think that your house would be worth this much money today?" And he was like, "No, like the first home that they got before the one that we have now, he ended up like let's say he bought it for like 190.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up selling it for probably a little over like 2,
Mm-hmm.
but because of paying his realtor and like some other things, I don't know how it was back then, but he ended up like breaking at that 190 point.
Okay.
So he didn't really make a whole lot on that sale. But then he comes back, purchases this home. We got some builder build it, 3 acres of land in Calvert County, and now it's worth just to me. I don't know about him because he is kind of like the same person. He doesn't react too much. Kind of just, hey, what's up? It is unreal to see that market growth. Like it's insane. And so again, people that have purchased this home 20, 25, 30, 15 years ago, again, they have this like their golden egg, just like my baby.
It's just where they're like living. It's where they're sitting. And you know, the thought that's crazy to me, I remember going to a national real estate conference and hearing people talk about like, oh yeah, my average is 1.2 million. Oh yeah, my average sale is 930,000. Oh yeah, like, you know, this much money, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never even sold a house in that price range. Yeah. And you could say it's because I'm, slower in my growth than other people. You could say it's because other people, had opportunities that I didn't. But what I say is after looking at our market and understanding what's going on real time in the real estate market, we don't have this $1.5 million market. You know, now this is 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. But now coming back to center, it's like finding a house for 700,000 is like, around the corner from a McDonald's. It's not even a far-fetched thought anymore. Yeah. It's like how our market has grown. Even in my 10 years in the industry, I've just watched it from my own eyes. Like no one sells $1.2 million houses to saying no one sells $1.2 million houses. Like they're everywhere. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's a difference of perspective. And we have all these boomers, right? Boom. That are sitting on this equity trying to figure out what do they want to do with it, right? The fear of where to go next or what they're going to do with their funds or taxes or...
A big thing of it is just like, and might be like their last time buying and selling.
Yeah.
And so like a huge consideration is like, okay, where am I going to move to next? Where am I going to spend the rest of my life? Is this even something I'm willing to consider? Do I want to stay here forever? And a lot of people... Like sometimes the house is just way too big for people that are living in it now.
Well, and it's interesting because on our blog post, we kind of identified 3 or 4 things that were specific to each generation and specifically to boomers and the Gen Xers. It's a matter of like understanding ownership is important to me. So the idea of moving from this property into a condo or maybe moving into a community or downsizing is like, wait a second, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the traditional sense of real estate security.
I think financial security is probably like...
That's what I mean, right? Like that's what they think about. They think about... I'm here because I know where I am. I'm comfortable. My money's tied into this good investment. I don't need to move it. I don't want to move it. It's not a risk that I want to take. I'm happy and I don't have to. Yeah. Let me fall down the stairs, right? And you're like, well, Dad, we can put in a slide, right? And he's like, you don't tell me how to live my life, right? But I mean, that's the kind of people that are sitting on the equity in the country. I forget the statistics, but it's something like 40% of all equity in the country is over the age of 49. Yeah. It's something crazy because people have so much pent up equity in their home and they don't know what to do with it. They're not yet ready to downsize. My dad has a huge house and my dad's sitting on a ton of equity if he would sell it, but he'll never sell that house. It's a rancher with no basement. He'll never sell it. Right. Wow. And I know that about him. But he's got like rooms that are conditioned rooms that he's paying to heat and cool that are sitting with nothing but old boxes from my sister's high school graduation, right? Like my dog has a bedroom in his house, basically.
He's living the life.
I mean, I know. But then, the comparison here is you have Gen Z and millennials that are actually not here for the same traditional values. You have people that are not looking for home ownership, equity build, stability, and focus. They're looking for like opportunity and experiences and the big sexy thing. And
I think the experience is a huge part of it. I don't think people look at it as, again, financial security. I agree with you there. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's like this like new chapter in life rather than like in a financial investment that people look at, right?
Well, I mean, even look at, one of my good friends, Jay Bond. Jay is living out in California, doing a great job, living the best life. He's made so much of his life from where he came from to where he is today. And yet, where does his money go? It goes to fun things, parties and toys and, dinners and events. I mean, that's well worth it. And then the other thing that it goes to is investments. It doesn't go to where he lives. He doesn't put that primary focus on security the way other people do. And so in that way, he's like a Renaissance man, right? Because he's kind of, he's been in business for a long time. He's got a lot of successes. And what does he do? He invests in his future by investing in the market.
I feel like for some, this experience lifestyle can be a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword. And I'll tell you exactly why. And you're gonna laugh at this, but you're gonna agree. So you go out on a showing with the property or with the buyer. You met them. You talked to them online. You've had a couple conversations with them. You had a Zoom meeting with them. They were really exhausted from cleaning up their dog or whatever the situation was, and you didn't get the fullest picture of who they are. But you got to know them, this person and that person. Doesn't matter their name, right?
Okay.
And then you got to know another couple, this person and that person. Really nice, cute little couple, same exact thing, right? And this couple comes to the showing and you meet with them and they're super nice and they're looking to buy a expensive house and they kind of seem unassuming. They show up in a late 2000s Honda Accord. They're, in kind of sweatpants and some tennis shoes and baseball hat maybe. And he knows his way around a house, but yet you ask him, have you ever owned a home? And they say no. And you go, okay, well, what's important to you about the home you choose? And they say, well, we want to put down 20%. We want to avoid mortgage insurance. We want to buy in a good community. We want to have good schools. We want to whatever. And then the next couple, you do the same thing and you go to their house and they show up and they're all dazzled out. They've got the, who's who of handbags and shoes and baseball hats and jackets. I mean, it grinds my gears to see somebody buy a $180,000 house and show up in a Canada Goose jacket, right? Like you're literally talking 1% of your house value is the jacket that you're wearing, right? Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But yet it's the person that's in the experience world that is no longer able to afford the exact same thing that another person that's not investing in those experiences is able to create for themselves. Same financial impact, same financial community, but because of some planning and execution, this person has a great quality of life. This person has better experiences.
I think what you do is a great example of that experience.
Uh-oh.
Like homeownership. Adulting,
Amanda, turn it off now. Don't listen.
Adulting life. Like you kind of like have, no. It's all good. Like, I don't know if we can't say this out loud, you can cut out Liv, but you and Amanda are now under contract on a new home. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
And I think a lot of that is from the sacrifices that you've made. And sometimes it's like you don't go out to the club late night or like you don't go to the bar super late. There's been times where you've told me like when I was early in real estate, like you would work at the office until like 7, be late to happy hour. Your boys would be like, what the fuck, Mike? Where are you? He's like, nah, but I'm here. I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Right.
Let's fucking stay here for another 3 hours and the shot's on me right now. And then like you came late. So then you could invest your time into real estate, and now it's kind of all coming back to you to kind of give you the lifestyle that you want.
And so, like, to me, it's a sacrifice, not giving up, right? Like, the opportunity to travel the world is amazing. Amanda has a best friend that we were just with the other day for the holiday, and she has had so many blessings in her life. She has lived a great life, had a lot of experiences, had the opportunity to have a great job and leave that great job in pursuit of another adventure. In the meantime, she's traveling, she's seeing the world, spending time with her dog. I mean, there's amazing things that she's doing, and yet she's never invested in real estate. It doesn't mean that she's a failure. It doesn't mean that she's not successful. It means that she just puts priorities in other places. I think the challenge is that people want everything. They want to experience things. And the biggest failure in today's world is that they want to be known. So people want to be known for going to brunch, or they want to be known for being an investor, or they want to be known for driving a nice car. They want to be known. It's like we can't just work really hard for the things that we want anymore. We need other people's approval.
I definitely think
This went really deep, really fast.
I feel like that's a huge battle that a lot of people my age have. Liv, can you speak on that at all? Just like wanting to be everything that's out there.
The silent nod.
She's just like, I have not been listening to anything. So I don't know. Like, I love playing guitar. I love like my computer. I love doing real estate. I love my car and like all these other things. And I have to figure out where I want to make, again, maybe sacrifices is the right term. Maybe not, but like still live the life I want to live, experience the things I want to live, but be responsible about it.
Yeah.
And people don't have that ability to draw the line. They just get so wrapped up into everything and like.
Well, and
what
we've
was the
talked
term
about
that-
it.
What was the term that you said? Like showing it off, or like you have to
be known for it, right?
You have to be known.
We've
for that.
talked about it. You went to the Grateful Dead tour, right? How many concerts did you go to? 3, 4 in that final tour?
5.
5 in the final tour. You're a psychopath. But anyway,
What?
and what we talked about was, Christian, you went to 5 shows, right? You took 5 weekends. You took 4 flights. You spent 3 weeks on a couch. You did all these different things, right? And then on top of it, right, you bought the poster. You brought home the, XYZ from your travel, or you spent extra money to experience it in this way.
Yeah.
And it's not like a wrong thing. You
No,
just have to
no.
be able to acknowledge
Yeah.
that, yes, I chose that.
I think the acknowledgement is a huge part of it.
What I wish that more people would do, circling back to real estate, I wish that more people would acknowledge that if I choose to X, Y, and Z, then I can't A, B, C, right? It doesn't matter one way or the other. If I choose to X, Y, and Z, then I have to buy a smaller house. If I choose to X, Y, Z, then I can't get a fully renovated property.
Yeah,
if I
that's
choose
that's
to
a
X,
very
Y,
good
Z,
point.
I can't have an updated bathroom. But what it doesn't mean is I should stay renting. Right? Like, because that to me is just stupid, right?
Yeah.
Creating the opportunity for your future is not about the experience that you have today. That's a memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say something, kudos to all the things that we've done in our lives. But for my wife and I, the opportunity to buy this house only comes from all the other sacrifices that we've made and all the other things that we haven't done, right? Like, I know people... for example, I never had the opportunity to live on a dorm in college. That was never something that I had the opportunity to do, right? A lot of people had that opportunity, that great experience, that dorm life, that, lifelong friends that they generated from that moment. Yeah. I never had that, right? And I'm not saying it's a right or wrong. It's just those people, many of them still to this day in their late 30s, are paying off that debt.
Yeah.
From that experience. How many experiences have people gone to? Skydiving in Dubai, cliff diving in the Caymans, going to see the Northern Lights, or whatever the experience might be, and they're still paying it off, right? Like, they're buying it on credit, they're doing it on 0%, they're doing whatever. And there's a lot of people that live a great life that way. I'm not chastising anyone, but you have to be able to say, I chose this, I also want that, and make those two things happen.
The key thing for me here, at least taking away from what you had said, is the acknowledgement, right? Whether it be good or bad, I think you have to come to that sort of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And
so
it's only going to, I think, help you, one, either answer your own questions, or two, like, pave your way now.
So I'm going to huge pitch for one of our clients who stepped out of corporate world, one of the most amazing stories of successes in high school, college, and then into the corporate world. Justin left a corporate job making a lot of money to go and pursue something that he was passionate about, which is creating financial freedom and solvency for other people.
Yeah.
And one of the foundations for their financial, wellness group or coaching group is having the understanding and the systems and the accountability behind who you talk with about these things, right? Are you going to brunch and talking about the next Louis Vuitton handbag, or are you going to brunch and talking about maybe we should stop in at an open house and check out some investment opportunities? Are you going to brunch and talking about going on a trip to Jamaica, or are you going to brunch and talking about how I can save more for my down payment closing costs, how I can put more into my retirement, my savings? I mean, I didn't start saving for my future until like 30.
Yeah.
If I had started saving at 13, right, I'd be a whole different animal than I am today. So I think it's just the choice of identifying who you want to be, and really what you want to accomplish, because ultimately understanding that we as millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all these other things are about our experiences. There has to be a way to bring experiences with a little bit of traditional, functional financial security and solvency. Because if there's anything that is my fear about the real estate market, it's 30 years down the road when some of these kids that are 3 and 5 and 7 are working 2 and 3 jobs trying to make ends meet so that they can create the opportunity just to go on the trip to Jamaica because of cost or because of the expenses that it takes to live in the world. And so if we're not thinking about that, I have zero fear for the real estate market crashing in the next 2, 3, or 5 years. I have zero fear for what's going to happen to our business. I have a lot of fear for what's going to happen to our future generations and how they buy and sell real estate.
The more and more that I work and get into real estate, talk with people, or just run my own business, I think it's going back to what we said about there being a new class of like renters and people who own real estate.
Right.
Or homeowners, whether it be an investor or you own your house.
I think it's 110% going to happen.
It's only going there. And I feel like even so, because you have massive supply and demand problem,
Right.
like inventory problem. But then everywhere we go, there's always now like this new apartment complex that's fucking popping up. Excuse my language. There's a ton of them coming up in Annapolis. I've heard of new places in Calvert County. Talking to one of my friends, that places are coming up. Like they're talking about putting more in downtown Baltimore. And is that exactly what we need? Like, it's just more. I don't know. I don't. I think kind of like a fucking rant here, but
I think that the challenge of the economic uncertainty creates fear, and those that are bound for success are those that are going to take that step into that fear and take advantage. If you look back into the most successful people in the country, most successful people in the world, where they've always taken advantage is when the market is down, they've bought. Yeah. Right? When you have people like Rockefeller and you have people like Warren Buffett and you have people that are massively, massively successful, where they've taken advantage of the market is when the market was down. When it was the most tough, the most difficult, that's when they made their money. And so for me, for my family, for my future, what I want to try and do is work really hard through all of this, helping people to see that, you know, while you may choose a delayed homeownership path because of college, post-college, first job, renting in the right market, going out to brunch and doing the other fun things, why don't we find a way to like bridge the gap? Bridge the gap. Damn it. I'm going to be excommunicated from Baltimore. Why don't we find a way to bridge the gap between experiencing the opportunity that's in front of you and generating the opportunity for your future? And I think that's the biggest difference between the Gen Xers and the Gen Zers, the millennials and the baby boomers.
It's the
is
people.
That financial security piece needs to be a little bit more of our promotion, if you will, in our future, in our investments.
I would agree. Financial security people.
Whew, that was a big one. All right, people, we're going to talk more about this bridge for the next 10 years. And if you guys have any questions,
I thought it was 18.
or anything that you want to know about our blog, go to our website at Frank Oliver Co. Under additional resources, under blog, you can find more content, and we will talk to you guys real soon. You can always Instagram me at michael.frank___, or you can always email me at mike@frankoliverco.com.
You can find me on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead, and I will catch you all later.
Catch you guys soon.